Want to be a topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentilers teaching you the tips and tricks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our editorial analysis. Can you hear and see me clearly? Hi, roosters. Good morning. Very good morning. Am I clearly audible and visible? Good morning. If you could quickly confirm that I'm clearly audible and visible, we shall start with our session. Good morning, Shania. I hope everything's good. Looks good, everyone. Good morning, Gaurav. All right. Good morning, Sanket. So what are we going to do in the session today? Okay, I brought an article on sociology. Okay, and this is a topic that we haven't taken in quite a while. So we're going to be discussing sociology in detail. We're going to be discussing some concepts of sociology because sociology is one of those topics that Cat loves giving us. Okay, so with the aim of doing eclectic reading, we are going to be discussing this article on sociology. The source of the article, I was trying to hunt for a sociology article. Surprisingly, I found the sociology article in the Hindu. Okay, and it appeared in the text and context page, which usually people don't read, which usually people miss out on. So if you don't read the Hindu or the text and context page, I will highly recommend the text and context page because there are many good articles that appear. Recently, I think last week, an article on metaverse appeared, and metaverse has been doing rounds on the news channels for quite a while. I'd highly recommend that article also. You read that, you understand exactly the concept of metaverse and why is it so controversial. So read that article in the text and context on metaverse. If you would want me to show you the date and the page and the link, I can show you that as well towards the end of the class. So that's one thing. So we're going to be doing one article today on sociology from the Hindu. I don't have separate vocabulary, but I'll be teaching you basic concepts and understanding so that if an article on sociology comes up, you are comfortable with that. You are okay with that. Towards the end, and I have many inference questions that I've made in between. So we'll be attempting at answering those questions. Towards the end, we'll be discussing the summary and the tone of the author. So some of you had commented under my last video with the tone of the author, and I've answered every one of the comments. Today also towards the end, I expect you to write down the tone of the author under my video, which I'm going to check personally. So before I start off with the session, a few things. Meet our unstoppables of CAT 2021, and I'm sure you can also be one of those people in CAT 2022. Probably next year we're going to be putting your pictures and displaying them. If you wish to be one of those, make sure you enroll yourself right away for the CAT 22 comprehensive program, where you are trained under the guidance of the serial 99 and 100 percentilers as well. Look no further, enroll yourself right away and start your preparation today itself. So let's start with our article today, and I'm going to be, thank you Prats, thank you my child, God bless you and you have all my blessings and all my love towards you, and I'll be praying for your success as well. Thank you Prats. So I'm not able to get critical reasoning. I don't have hold on it. Okay, Varun, let's do something. Can we focus on this article from the perspective of critical reasoning? Let's read this, although this article can probably be made into reading comprehension instead of critical reasoning questions. Basic questions, factual questions can come up from this article because it's full of factual details. Yet, Diya, yes, you can. I'm sure you can. Okay, I have great confidence in your capabilities. You are one of those kids who I have been teaching even before I started teaching on this platform, and I know your capability. Okay. अच्छा, वीडियो टीम ये भैया राज को ब्लॉक कर दो एक बार, इसे पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है. Okay, back to the agenda. Okay, now this is a German word. Verstehen is how you pronounce the word. Verstehen. This is a sociological concept. But before I show you what the word means, what is sociology exactly? What do you think is sociology? Let's understand that first. Only then we will attempt at understanding the passage. What is sociology? I'll wait for your answers. What do you think is sociology? Because CAT gives us a lot of articles on sociology. What is sociology, my kids? Study of one's surrounding. Can I call it society? Yes, Prats, I can. Study of the society, okay. There's one more word that's actually missing. Study of society, yes, but it's basically the study of society's behavior. So that's exactly why, yes, Varun, it's the study of human behavior and how they behave in a society. Yes, Disha, you're absolutely right. Yes, Sonali, you're absolutely right. And that's exactly why sociology, philosophy, psychology, and then how governments function, all of these are interrelated factors. Okay. And if you don't understand sociology, your understanding of psychology articles or philosophy articles or articles on governance are going to be difficult because they are interrelated. So sociology precisely is how humans behave in a society, and society and human behavior are two interdependent aspects. Human behavior, the society will decide. How the society functions, human behavior will decide. They are interconnected. Okay, now let's understand the concept of Verstehen. This article appeared in the Hindu's text and context. Read the page and answer this question of what absolute objectivity means in the page. Good luck. What is there's a mosquito. What does absolute objectivity mean here? What is absolute objectivity? I think there's a lag in the video today. Your answers are coming pretty late to me. Human approaches to things. Okay, Pradyuman, good try. Only a few particular factors being considered for study of one's behavior. Just the things that we see and not digging deep. Yes. Prads, Diya, I'll buy your point. But Pradyuman, good try. Approximately, Varun, good try, my child. Now let me explain this, okay? Let's understand. So, Verstehen basically is a German term. That's a German word, which means understanding. Okay. Now, sociology is an old concept. It's not a new one. It did not just happen today. And ever since sociology came into existence, we just cannot write articles without mentioning Max Weber. Like we can't write articles on psychology without mentioning who is the most prominent, most important psychologist that you've heard of. Sigmund Freud? Yeah, absolutely. So there are some sciences which can't be written about without mentioning the most prominent people who belong to the cult. So Max Weber is one of those people who belongs to the field of psychology and is one of the field of sociology and is one of the founders of sociology. So he said that it's based on understanding, and he argues that human actions cannot be analyzed by merely adopting the research methods followed by natural sciences with absolute objectivity. That is, if you have an idea in your mind, you just can't, it's not 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It's not mathematics, right? Sociology is human behavior, and human behavior is ever changing. Since it is ever changing, there's no specific formula, there's no specific technique that's absolute, that will give you a sure shot answer. So understanding human behavior and understanding the behavior of society can never be measured in terms of absolute objectivity. Okay, that 2 plus 2 is 4, that's an objective answer, right? So when you solve, your paper is an objective paper, CAT is an objective paper, right? Because you don't have to write answers. It's not dependent on you. It's dependent on the data given to you. Thus, it's not objective. And absolute objective, certainly not. It depends from society to society. Sociology depends from society to society and person to person. That is what absolute objectivity means here. Okay. So, yeah, there's a big lag today. Yes, I can see that as well. Considering only few parameters for research and not the broader range of factors, Disha, brilliant. Okay. Raj, मान जाओ मेरे भाई, पढ़ाई कर लो, पढ़ाई कराने दो. Weber believed that the interpretation of human actions through recognition and empathy was crucial. Now see, when we see empathy can never be objective. There's no A or B, no black and white in empathy. Empathy it lies in the gray area, because you might be empathetic towards something. For example, non-vegetarian. Some people may be empathetic towards animals and not eat them. But then other people may not be empathetic and they may actually enjoy non-vegetarian food. So empathy is dependent on person to person, and thus it lies in the gray area. And this gray area is omitted in absolute objectivity. Thus, sociology from the perspective of absolute objectivity is wrong. Verstehen is the procedure by which sociologists gain access to the meanings behind human actions. Now let's understand what human actions are from the perspective of sociology. Human actions are what I decide to do at a specific moment. If my decision, for example, there's communal violence going on in my country, I might decide to support that communal violence promoting my religion. You might decide not to promote it and to condemn it. Your actions are different from mine. Can we measure these actions with absolute objectivity? We cannot. And that is exactly what Verstehen focuses on. Verstehen says nothing is completely black and white. You have to understand human actions empathetically. Empathy is the core of Verstehen. Let's move to the next page and let's understand more about Verstehen here. Read the page, everyone. I'll give you questions here. Varun, I'll explain that. So basically, sympathy is, I'll teach you a few words here. Path is the root word. Path means to feel. Okay. Now, sympathy is I feel sad. Okay. So if there's an animal suffering, I'll feel sad. Okay. So sad that happened to you. If you hurt yourself somewhere, I'll say, oh, I'm really sad. I'm really sorry for what has happened to you. That's sympathy. Empathy is I put myself in your shoes. So this, I put myself in your shoes and try to feel what you're going through. So if I'm a vegetarian, for example, and if I am empathetic, I would want to feel the same pain an animal would go through if the animal is butchered. And since I feel the same pain, I wouldn't be a non-vegetarian, I am empathetic. Verstehen focuses on empathy because it expects the sociologists, the researchers to place themselves into the position of people on whom the study is being done. Okay? And thus, they can understand exactly why somebody behaved in a specific manner. I hope you understand, Varun, what is sympathy and what is empathy. There's another word with the same root word, path, that's called apathy. Apathy is no feeling at all. A is a negative prefix, okay? So, apathy, no feeling at all. Yeah, yes, Prad, you read that article. Okay. So, see, this page says that people behave differently in different conditions. People behave differently in different, where is cultures? Yes, here it is. And societies. This is a simple example. So in Western countries, you see people meeting each other, hugging each other, kissing each other on their cheeks. In India, that's going to be a fad. Okay, people are going to be offended of how dare you kiss me on my cheeks. That's not permissible. So it's dependent from culture to culture, society to society. And what is a researcher of sociology if he is unable to put himself in the shoes of the person being studied? There's another question that I'd like to ask you beyond the data given to us in the passage. What was the need, just a minute, what was the need of studying sociology? Why did sociology came into existence? Why was there need to understand the concept of sociology? Perhaps that's what psychology, philosophy, sociology, all of these are interconnected. Now tell me, what's the need to understand sociology? What's the need for this entire science to be there in our society? Why? Varun, I'll want you to read almost all the articles on Aeon because it's one of the favorite sources, one of the many favorite sources, okay? And I'll write down a list as well of the topics that usually are being covered up. Ma'am, how to understand such unfamiliar complex passages? Mamta, see, Verstehen is an unfamiliar concept for us. But you see the language that's there. Guys, by my words, every philosophical article, every sociological concept will be explained in detail in the article. Okay? There will be examples to make the reader understand the philosophical concept the author is trying to portray or the sociological concept the author is trying to portray. Of course, you have to be more attentive, and apart from that, you need to be reading from a variety of sources. That's exactly what we aim at, eclectic reading, so that you're comfortable with any topic that might come up. Did I study sociology in my school? No. Did I study that in my college? No, I didn't. Am I okay with that? Yes, because I read a lot. Okay, so that's how you become comfortable with it. Now, there are answers about why sociology is needed. Ma'am, whenever I attempt to solve a CAT RC, which comprises 5 questions, I make 2 or 3 wrong. Abhishek, there needs to be detailed analysis done in it. Why are you getting them wrong? What is the reason? What are the kind of questions you're getting wrong? Are they main idea questions? Are they tone questions? Are they structure questions? What are the questions you're getting? Are they inference questions? When you're reading a passage, are you able to recollect the information, recollect the data, recollect the theme while you're answering the questions? Were you merely reading the passage for the sake of answering the questions, or were you reading it to understand the passage? Some people read the passage only for the sake of reading because there is a verbal ability section and there is an RC, so I have to read that. When you read mindlessly, you are bound to get questions wrong. There's a link that you need to create between each paragraph. You need to answer these questions, Abhishek. Once you answer these questions in your head, you'll know exactly why you're getting these questions wrong. Now, the question that I had asked, what is the need to understand sociology? To have a better understanding of human and their behavior? Yes. Study of social behavior would enable us to improve the way we live in a society? Absolutely yes, Disha. to understand human behavior? Yes, Maitre. And this will return in help our society grow and develop together in harmony. Absolutely. And there's another concept I'll add on to your definitions, which will make you understand the passage even better. Revolutions, feminism, for example. Okay, it was a revolution. Okay, people started understanding that women are being deprived of their basic rights. What led to such a revolution? Can sociology be a study which will help us understand what led to a revolution? For example, abolition of slavery, for example, emergence of feminism. Can sociology help us understand what led to such revolutions? Absolutely. Slavery was prevalent. Why did the civil war happen? We'll have our reasons in the history. But then everything was dependent on human behavior, how humans reacted in that specific situation. Probably one day women decided, no, we're not going to take this crap anymore. We're going to revolt. So there are people who reacted in a specific manner that led to such revolutions happening. That also leads to the emergence of sociology, understanding why people behaved in this manner. And to understand these revolutions, so sociology is a very important concept. A good example would be body gestures of how people behave differently in different culture, different societies, which can be misleading if not contextually understood. So everything has a context, right? So if I behave in a manner, I have a reason to behave like that. If you behave in a manner, you have a reason to behave that way. Yes? Okay. So, back to it. This is an example. You know what happened? So, during the presidential election, W. Bush gave us this hook 'em horns signs. Okay. And this is basically, all right, let's go for the fight. Very popular, very cool, very sassy. Everybody said, okay, this is a very cool sign. But then some of the countries in the world didn't take the sign very positively. Because in some countries, the sign is an offensive sign. Why is this sign an offensive sign? In some countries like Argentina, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, this is a sign for to show a person whose spouse cheated on them. Oh, that's an offensive one. So people were not really happy with the sign. Can I be offended with how Bush used his gestures? I probably couldn't, because his actions were dependent on his culture, his society. Their actions were dependent on their culture, their society. So for every action, there is a background, and for every action, there is a surrounding that needs to be paid attention to, and that's the concept of Verstehen. Just like this way, humans should know why people are posting their speech on Twitter. I'd like to say a lot about that, but I'll refrain from saying that. Otherwise, my video will be put down, or probably there's going to be a sedition case against me, which I don't want to deal with. So I'll refrain my comments here. Let's understand the hook 'em horn sign only. Now, read this page and answer this question, why, from this line. Read this paragraph. Two new concepts. Actualis Verstehen, Eclairendus Verstehen. Two new concepts. My question is, why is observational understanding alone not sufficient to explain human action? Why is observational understanding alone not sufficient to explain human action? because it might be their culture to cook and behave in that way. So through a thorough digging is needed. Okay. What happened, Kavya? You're unable to understand the article? Because our observations are based on the way society functions and not to the person who is being observed. And it can be conflicting many a time. Yes, Disha, I'll correct something. It's always many a time. That's one very frequent mistake that people do and very common question that comes up in examinations that give you grammar. Many a time. Many times, many a time. Okay. I'm behaving like a peculiar school teacher. Because the visual, probably the tip of the iceberg. Yes, Prats. Having a deeper meaning is necessary. Emotional state is not explained in it. Absolutely. All of you guys are right. All of you are absolutely right. So it's basically, so actual is Verstehen. In English, actual behavior. If you translate that into English, okay? So my actual behavior, I'm cooking. If you just look at me as a researcher, you are following observational understanding. You're trying to think, okay, I had put salt, then I had put water, and all of this process. You're just trying to observe my actions. Will this be enough to understand my motive behind cooking? Who am I cooking for? Am I cooking in anger? Am I cooking with love? Am I cooking out of need? Merely observing my actions, salt and water and potatoes and rice, you wouldn't understand the motives. And that's why only observing actions. I hit somebody, okay? Even, quotes don't function on observational understanding only. I had killed somebody, okay? But what was my motive? If I don't pay attention to the motive, it's merely observation. I had killed somebody. I should be given death penalty or probably life sentence, imprisonment. But if probably my motive was something that I was suffering from by that person for a long, long time, I wouldn't be given that death penalty or life imprisonment. So motive, you don't know, you don't understand motive in only observational understanding. And that's why empathetic understanding or Eclairandis Verstehen is needed. So Eclairandis is digging deep. It's only the tip of iceberg that you see. Correct. All right. So let's move on. Let's understand it furthermore. Here a researcher attempts to understand the meaning attached to an act in terms of the motives. Motive? Why did I kill that person? Why am I cooking? What was my motive? Motive is very, very necessary. Courts function that way. Sociology functions that way. This requires them to find the reason behind an action. Is a person cooking for themselves or others? Are they cooking to feed their family or it's a part of their work? I might be a cook. I might be a chef. Do they get paid for their work? Are they enjoying their activity? All of these questions when being answered can actually, do you agree, can impact the economy as well? So can I say economics is another field that's interconnected to sociology? Can you say that? Yes, it could be self-defense as well, Prads. So can I say economics is another field, another science that has a correlation with sociology? Absolutely, it does. Because the moment I see, are they being paid for their work? Are they enjoying their activity? All of these are trying to answer questions regarding economics as well. Okay, yes, they are interconnected. All of these sciences are interconnected. So once you understand the concepts of sociology, it's going to be easier for you to understand other behaviors as well. Okay, so to interpret such actions and the purpose behind them, Weber argued that one has to get into the shoes, being empathetic. That was the core of Verstehen, right? Showing empathy. I have to put myself in their place and see why are they doing that? Why? Not how, but why. How is observation? Why is being empathetic? Now, read this paragraph and answer what all can we infer from this line. Okay? Read the whole paragraph. What does the line social action determines structural transition in society? I'll wait for your answers. There's a big lag today. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. This paragraph, you can understand this whole paragraph with the feminist revolution, or probably abolition of slavery as well. Varun, can you please post this query again? I missed out on your question. I think it's gone up in the chat. Social actions lead to the development of society. Understanding the way society behaves can lead to understanding what will happen if things are in certain ways and other factors related to them. Absolutely correct, Abhishek. Absolutely correct, Dia. Absolutely. Okay, now let me explain this. Take the example of the feminist revolution. You guys know what feminism is, right? Uh, in one line, feminism is not women are superior to men. Feminism is equal rights to everyone. Men, women, equal rights, equal value, everything equal, equal pay, all of that equal. Okay, no superior, no inferior. So let's understand the feminist movement, and let's understand the paragraph as well. Social actions determine structural transition in the society. Structural transition. Can I say before the feminist movement happened, women were not given their due? Probably women, their pay wasn't equal. Women were not allowed to work. Women were not given equal voting rights in some countries. Yeah. So there was a structural change that happened after the feminist movement happened. Women were started giving, they started getting more importance, equal importance rather. They started getting one vote, one value, equal pay, equal rights, their body, their decision, and everything came into the existence. It was structural transition that happened in the society. Structural transition, another example was the abolition of slavery. Slavery was a common thing that day, right? But then after the civil war happened, people said, no, it's inhuman. We can't keep humans as slaves. Let's abolish it. There's an entire transition that happened in the structure of the society. No up and down, everyone equal. What determined this structural transition? The social actions of people. One day, somebody decided, no, this slavery is uncalled for. We need to abolish it. This inequality between men and women is uncalled for. We need to abolish it. These were the social actions that led to such transitions in the society. And that's why the revolutions that have happened are interconnected to sociology. Remember the example that I had given you. The causes and meanings attached to it is important in understanding what pushes social change. What were the causes? Maybe too much of pressurizing on women or slaves, and thus the outburst happens one day. So it's a reaction to some action. There's a motive behind that, and only when you're empathetic you would understand the motive. For Weber, changes were caused when society encouraged certain types of motive for actions by individuals. So why did I react that way? I had some motive. I was being oppressed and I wanted to speak against the oppression. I maybe was a slave or a woman and I spoke against the oppression. That was my motive, and that led to the structural transition in the society. So making human actions equally relevant in understanding social change. So my action was absolutely relevant. It leads to a flow of new thought in society, creating revolutionary changes. Yes, Disha, it does. As okay, so Varun has a question. Ma'am, I had one doubt when I tried to give foundation level sectional test on RC. nearly getting 80 plus percentile, but when giving cat mocks, score gets reduced. Okay. See, obviously, because the difficulty level varies here. Okay. Varun, although I would have answered this question towards the end of the class, but since I've already read it, I'd like to address it here. By the time I address Varun's question, why don't you first hit the like button right now and hit the share button right now? Do me this little favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the share button. And everyone who still struggles with getting a good percentile, guys, of course, the foundation level mocks are going to be easier than the cat level mocks. And the moment you go to a difficult level, your percentile will fall. That's obvious. But getting demotivated with the fact that my percentile falls is not a solution. You still have roughly 4 or 5 months in your hand. You can change the course of entire history in these 4 or 5 months. Okay, the entire not history, the future course of future can be changed. So what you need to do is you just need to be one, identifying what are the sections I'm weak at and do a little bit of extra practice than what you've been doing and take more of cat mocks. Okay, Varun, because that's exactly the kind of mocks that you would, the paper that you would see. They're the closest to the actual paper. Please give as many mocks as possible. Probably one mock every 3-4 days is something that I would expect out of you now. Since you don't have many months left. So sit for mocks, analyze your mocks very carefully and solve many RCs from various sources. They have to be cat level. Please don't solve these you can also solve GMAT RCs, by the way, but please don't solve these SSC and banking and BBA, these RCs. Okay, where can we read different genres? Aeon, aeon.co. I keep taking those articles every week. Okay, let's go to the next page. I would have spoken a lot about your question, Varun, but I don't think this is the right time. Okay, because we're in the midst of an article. I hope you understand. Read the page, everyone. I'll ask you a question here. Very tricky paragraph. Very tricky, guys. Sonali, that's the whole point. So Calvinism is a subset of Protestantism. And if you understand Christianity, you would know who Protestants are, and you would also understand Calvinism. Now let's understand this concept here. This line actually is a very important one. Let's not delve deep into what Calvinism is. Let's understand it that it's basically how Christians are supposed to behave. What actions are Christians supposed to do? And there are, Protestants and other types of Christians. So this Calvinism basically focuses on Protestantism, and it says that you are supposed to live with basic needs only. Don't be extravagant. Don't spend a lot. That is what was promoted by Calvinism. So if you're a Protestant, this is how your lifestyle has to be. Frugal living. Frugal is bare minimum. You have to save money and you have to invest in business because success and profit making were necessary for God's satisfaction. See, every religion focuses on God. Protestants also focused on God's existence, and everybody wants to make God happy. I mean, who would want to make God angry on yourself? So Calvinism said that if you want to make God happy, you have to make money and you have to save money. You have to create business, make money out of it, but don't spend it on yourself. Save that money. When this ideology was promoted by Calvinism, it gave birth to capitalism. What is capitalism? What is capitalism? And how did Calvinism give birth to capitalism? Capitalism focuses on profit making, right? I can't wait for your answers. There's a big lag today. Okay, it focuses on profit making. It says everything, the entire economy focuses on maximizing the profit for private organizations. And when Calvinism focused on making money, investing in business, saving money, it automatically led to the emergence of capitalism in the, yes, increasing business profit and increasing the economy. Yes, correct. Correct. So ultimately, yeah, investing money, money making, that's capitalism. So now you understand how sociology actually plays a role in economy, right? So Calvinism led to the emergence of capitalism in Northern Europe in 16th, 17th century, one of the most relevant structural changes. Structural changes we studied in the last paragraph, I give you two examples. This is another example of a structural change. According to Weber, there are four ideal types of social actions. Traditional social action, which refers to actions controlled by socio-cultural norms. For example, I'm supposed to behave in a specific manner because the society expects me to do that. For example, when I go to a gurdwara, I cover my head because the society expects me to do that. It's a socio-cultural norm. My culture expects me to do that. Okay, that's a social. So my behavior is in accordance to the society and the culture. That's the first one. While effective social actions are determined by one's emotional state, wherein one might not think of the consequence of action. So the next type is when I react, I don't care about the society. I do things according to what pleases me, what I find appropriate. So these are the two categories of social actions. One, where society influences your action. The other, where you don't care about the society. You act according to what you deem correct. Value rational social actions are determined by conscious belief in the inherent value of the type of behavior. Is my behavior going to add on some value to the society? That's the next one. And lastly, we have instrumental rational social actions which are carried out to achieve certain goal. My goal to fill my stomach, I'll go into the kitchen, make some food. My goal to bring equality in the society, I'll go ahead and fight against the Dalit discrepancy, right? So no social action is purely just one of the four types. That is, it's a mixture. So putting them into black and white is again wrong. That's what Verstehen said. Verstehen said it can be a mixture of all four of these, two of these minimum. These types are simply used as tools to look at real actions and categorize them. When you categorize them, you can see why I acted in this manner. A simple example, why do I cook? I can cook in a specific manner because my society expects me to do that. I can cook in a specific manner because I like that it pleases me to eat the food that way. I cook in a specific manner because I have an aim to fill my stomach. It can be falling into various categories. Okay, now read this paragraph and I'll ask you a question here. Yes, Abhishek, they are interconnected. You'd also like to know what is utilitarianism. I'd explain that. A beautiful example is given, you'll understand the passage. So utilitarianism is a concept that focuses on the utility of someone's behavior. Okay, the utility of someone's behavior is basically acting in a manner that maximizes happiness or satisfaction and minimizes unhappiness or dissatisfaction in people. So every action that you do, it should bring in maximum, utmost happiness, utmost satisfaction to yourself and least amount of dissatisfaction and unhappiness in your mind. So somebody who is a utilitarian believes in spreading happiness, satisfaction, an action that makes almost everyone happy and no discomfort or discontentment in the heart of people. That's utilitarianism. Obviously, it's interconnected to efficiency. And I think I don't need to explain this because this example of the ring clearly says the motive. Verstehen, it clearly explains how Verstehen is applicable here. So I will not explain this paragraph. Thus, Verstehen, through its deep understanding of individual actions, why am I making a ring? I might be making a ring to make profit. I might be making a ring to make you happy, to see the smile on your face. My motive may be different. I might be making it to make a living or make profits, whatever it is. You can't decide someone's actions without being empathetic and understanding their motive behind that. Merely looking at them that, oh my God, he said this to me. I'll be offended. Why did you say that? I have to look behind your motive as well. Okay, so this is done. And the last paragraph. Read this one, everybody. Oh, Abhishek, do you read every day? That's pretty low, my child. But we can work on it together. Yes, Shreyansh. Sorry, Shayana. I'm so sorry. Too tiny written. Yes, Shayana, you're right. So simple. The last paragraph focuses on the criticism, okay, of Verstehen. Criticism, two reasons. One, Verstehen focuses on society's role. But then, tell me something. Is every action that I take is dependent on how society influences my action? Probably not. Not in every case. Not in every case the society promotes me to take up an action. Not every time. It might be a personal decision as well. So too much of focus on society's role, uncalled for, and that's why this concept of Verstehen was criticized. Another was, I can as a researcher be biased while understanding your action or your reaction, how I perceive your action. It will be completely my personal decision. So it's not a very objective methodology that can be followed by everyone because personal bias can come in while understanding the action of a person. So this was criticized by scholars after Weber through theories like symbolic interactionism, which discusses individual agency and explains how people possesses more freedom to shape their identities. This is basically a gist of the whole paragraph. So ultimately, ma'am, how would it lead to biased understanding? Did you understand that now, Diya? Biased understanding is, I'll give you an example. So you hitting somebody. If your mom looks at it and if I look at it, your mom might justify your hitting somebody because she's your mother. But then if I look at it, I might say, and if you hit my child, your mom will look at the situation from a different perspective, I will look at it from a different perspective. I can be biased while I'm understanding your actions. Okay? So that's how it can be biased. Now, everyone, you have a little bit of homework. I'll tell you that. But before that, I'll answer Abhishek's question. I've taken BYJU'S CAT prep in month of Feb and I never miss the classes. I don't read regularly, but I do solve 2 RCs on daily basis. Okay. Read. Yeah, exactly. You have to read daily. You have to. At least a good 3-4 pages are needed. I think that's what's lacking here. Also, I think since you're already enrolled in one of our programs, I think having a one-to-one chat with one of the VARC teachers, Sonojam sir, Nikita ma'am, whoever it is, please speak to them. I think they'll be able to analyze your problem in detail. Because here in the chat, I'll be unable to understand. I need many, many answers to many, many questions. Okay. Exactly. Yes, Shayana, you're absolutely right. So now, guys, this was the article. I hope you loved reading Verstehen. And your homework is that you comment under my video and tell me what the tone of the author is. Now, let me give you a homework about the summary. You have to write down the summary, the gist, the main theme in not more than 10 words. Like an option in an exam. I'll be checking each one of the comments. Comment under my video with the gist of the passage in not more than 10 words. Okay? And if there's a change that's needed, I'll comment under your video. Don't leave the class without liking the video, commenting under my video. If you have been benefited with the class, share the video with as many people as you can. I'll be glad if you do that. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram. Download our app on Google Play. Thank you so much, everybody. Ma'am, when will you increase the frequency of this session? I don't know. The tone is difficult today, yeah. Okay. I have Prats and I have Pratt, 2 people in my class. Okay, it's difficult for me to identify which one's talking now. Okay, Diya. Ma'am, in which way we have to read and how it will help us? Pratt, see, in which way you have to read? I can't answer that in one line. You have to be regular with the classes to understand that. But in a nutshell, you have to mind map. Aimless reading will never help you. Aimless reading is not understanding what actually the author is saying. Your focus has to be in understanding what's the basic concept of the passage, what's the gist of it, why is the passage written. You need to be able to answer this question towards the end of the passage, however you've read the article, okay? And how will it help you? It will help you in answering the VARC questions, my child. So that's all for today, everyone. I shall see you again very, very soon. And God bless you. So next Tuesday, everybody. Bye, everyone.